This is what the Russian troops in Ukraine are experiencing right now. The attempt to seize Kyiv in a week failed miserably. So what is really the obstacle to Russia's express strategy stalemate? Since January 2021, Russia has sent 70% of its troops to the Ukrainian border. Many military bases have been built to accommodate 200,000 troops. Thousands of armored vehicles and attack helicopters. As of February 20th, troop movements were observed advancing closer to the borderline. February 24th, inflation began. This is a map of the progress of the invasion of Russian troops since the war began. We see that the progress of the Russian territory is quite significant. It should be noted that this map is very biased, and does not depict real conditions on the ground. In fact, the Russian troops' movement area is limited to controlling road access, not zoning per area. Their movement area led to the road to big cities, which in the end led to besieging the capital of Kyiv. This is the Russian military base in Klinsty, 50 kilometers from the border. It can be seen that the condition of the Russian military base is now empty. Something similar happened to the Pogonovo camp in Voronezh and the Opik camp in the south of Crimea. This satellite image indicates that Russia is deploying all of its troops into Ukrainian territory. The problem is their attacks during the first week failed. The Russian mechanized division was running very slowly due to the weather. This was a bad time to go through the war, because the ground conditions were very muddy. Local residents named this terrible scourge for Russian troops named Rasputitsa. The term refers to the muddy road conditions produced by winter snowmelt, combined with wet weather and heavy spring rains. On social media, we often see many Russian armored vehicles stuck in the mud and abandoned by their soldiers. These expensive tanks were then easily stolen by Ukrainian farmers. Rasputitsa left the Russian generals with no choice but to keep their tanks and armor moving on the asphalt. From this satellite image, it can be seen that the speed of the convoy of Russian troops to Kyiv reached 60 kilometers. Being in the middle makes them vulnerable to attack. And a terrible threat from none other than Bayraktar. Bayraktar is free to destroy the Russian convoy because there is no superiority of the Russian army guarding the line of the brand's ground troop convoy. This is a video of the escort of the convoy by Russian helicopters. Believe me, at this point, Russian helicopters and jets cannot freely fly low to escort this convoy. The superiority of the Russian forces is now in question. On March 5, once in a day, the Russian Air Force lost 9 of their combat units. The terrible ghost for the Russian Air Force came from Stinger's manpads, which are now increasingly owned by the Ukrainian army. Stingers, effectively used in urban battles. Because the crew that operates it can move freely, hiding inside the building while targeting helicopters and low-flying planes. Since the outbreak of conflict, many allied nations have sent thousands of Stingers manpads to Ukraine. Not only Stingers, Russia also criticized the shipment of the latest anti-tank weapons such as the NLAW, Panzerfaust III and Javelin from allied countries. This anti-tank weapon changed the course of the battle on land. These 3 videos illustrate the complexity of the Russian military's current state. This video shows Russia, which is starting to lack logistics trucks, to the extent that civilian vehicles were in use. This image shows that. This video shows the delivery of supplies and relief troops. This video was taken at this point. Did you know that the distance from the city of Khabarovsky Krai to Ukraine reaches 7,000 kilometers? It took a week non-stop by train to reach Kyiv. From this video, it can be seen that Russia is trying to patch up the deficiencies on the Ukrainian front by adding additional troops from East Russia. This video was taken in Kovrov, Vladimir Oblast. These tanks were taken from the military school of Mechanized Unit 30,616-6. Yes, school, don't be surprised, okay? Seeing the complexity of the battlefield coupled with the geopolitics of foreign countries that support Ukraine in arms, the Russian strategy to control Kyiv will be met with great resistance.
Прийшли окупанти до нас в Україну, форма новенька, воєнні машини, та трохи поплавився їх інвентар. Байрактар. Байрактар.